Bear down, Chicago Bears. Thank you so much to everybody. This is one of the fastest growing channels in the Chicago Bears network. And I just want to say to you guys, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch me and listen to me rant about the Chicago Bears, about my enjoyment for what Justin Fields has done so far, about my excitement for the Bears in 2024. No matter who the quarterback is, about all of the different fantastic things that are going on in the Chicago Bears domain, from a new stadium coming around to maybe coming around to the number one overall draft pick for the second year in a row, to can we make a trade down? Can we get some more value for? Can we make a trade up? Can we get some more value for? What is it that we can do to improve this team in a way that ensures that the Chicago Bears are not only a playoff contender next year, but a Super Bowl contender? Now, if you like this type of content, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, the bell to be notified on your way in, and leave a comment down below letting me know, are you a Chicago Bears fan? Number one. Number two, who's the quarterback? Who is your quarterback? So we're going to check that out today. But before we get started with that, we have to ask one very weird and odd question. Will they or won't they? Folks, it got a little bit crazy. Matt LaFleur and Matt Eberflus were seen on a, I want to say, a mandate at a Marquette basketball game. So what are they plotting now? Is it the takeover of the entire NFL by the NFC North? I don't know. But after the jump, we'll figure it out.
I can't wait till Friday. Everybody's getting sideways. Pass the bottle back my way. Everybody's getting sideways.
All right, guys. So this video, this picture yesterday absolutely broke the internet. But what happened here was you saw Matt Eberflus and Matt LaFleur were hanging out at a Marquette basketball game yesterday. So they were, I guess, broing out. You know what I mean? We had a lot of wild stuff going on. In fact, let me pop this up on the screen here. Matt Eberflus, fire Flus immediately, guilty of treason, fraternizing with the enemy. Folks, we're having a lot of fun with this. We got the Crips and the Bloods over here holding up a unity symbol. We've got people just freaking out over what is it that we are really seeing going over here. We have not spent enough time discussing the recent Matt Eberflus glow up. The Bears might go 17-0. By the way, that does mean because he's got the beard now that the beard makes you unbeatable in Chicago. So here we are. It's what here we go. We've got a comparison to Tupac and Biggie. It was a wild day on crypto Twitter, talking about, or Bears Twitter, if you will, Bears X. And we'll see where this goes. This is just there's nothing to it, by the way, but we'll see how this transcends with the fans over the next bunch of days and how they feel about it. But the NFL silly season is about trade rumors, right? NFL Draft Bros, Eberflus LaFleur pairing generated a buzz. Would Mike Ditka be chumming it up with Forrest Gregg? Would Lovie Smith be yucking it up with Mike McCarthy? But here we are with the Bears and the Packers head coaches with floor seats to watch Marquette versus UConn 1 week before the start of NFL free agency. In the end, I'm left wondering, where else can Matt Eberflus' year go in 2024? He's gone from being on the hot seat to being retained, to having a beard now to represent that we're going to have an undefeated season, to hanging out with the arch rival and the enemy Green Bay Packers. So it is getting a little bit wild in Chicagoland. Okay, I'm here to tell you, it's getting a little bit wild. But have fun with it, enjoy it, and let's move on. In more somber news, if you will, the latest report creates a sense of urgency for the Chicago Bears to finalize a Justin Fields trade. Now, as you guys know, I am not a fan of a Justin Fields trade. But for the moment, there seems to be a large sentiment indicating that the Chicago Bears are going to move on from Justin Fields. And look, I would be obstinate about it in my brain and in my head because I think he gives us the best chance to win. However, I understand why there would be a need to go with him. And in fact, in my draft today, I did everything I could to kind of lock up what I think is the moment here where we can get, some kind of, it's got to be worthwhile to me because look, it is my belief and it is my opinion that if you move on from Justin Fields, then you're giving up on you're giving up on what I think is an elite athlete and an elite player. Now, the problem, of course, is that's got to translate to on the field, and to this point, it hasn't really translated in a way that we wanted to see. We've seen all the great plays, we've seen all the great moments, but we haven't really seen the breakout. And this would be much easier if in those last 8 games we saw him not lose to Detroit. Remember that first play, he didn't see the front side rush, and he got sacked, and that's where the safety came in. Um, after Detroit had already taken the lead, which really kind of, you know what I mean? Like yeah, it's there's so many different pieces where you just look at it and say, if he had made that play and he had taken the team down the field and he had won the Detroit game where they had lost the lead that they had, if that had happened, it's fantastic. That would be great. If he had done something better against the Green Bay Packers and kept them from the playoffs. You know what I mean? There are all these little pieces that, if there had just been something more, or Cleveland Browns when he had a 30 quarterback rating in the fourth quarter and we lost 20-17. Those are 3 winnable games. I mean, this is literally an almost potentially an 8-0 team that could have been. Okay. But so you have to look at that and you have to be honest. There might be a need to make that move. I'm a fan of Justin Fields. I don't want to see that happen, but he should have done more. If he had done more, like I'm saying right now, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be seeing how much we could get for the number 1 pick. And when somebody said, take Caleb Williams, even the media would say, are you stupid? Did you see what Justin Fields just did? Do you know what I mean? Like, but we're not seeing that. We're seeing Chicago fans who like Justin Fields doing that, but we're not seeing everybody doing that. And that would have been different if we had seen some kind of closeout in those games. And we can make the argument all day long that it was Luke Getsy, because in my mind, it always is Luke Getsy. He did not service Justin the proper way. He did not give him the opportunity to win. He did not create a positive environment in which Justin Fields could thrive. But Justin Fields is a grown man. He's got to figure out a way to overcome. And look, a coach's job is to put plays on the field and give players plays to run, right? And make sure that they're ready for that. And there's plenty of arguments that can be made, but at the end, if I call a play as a coach, I expect you to execute it. If you don't execute it, that's the team and the players' faults. You know what I mean? So it's very difficult. So I understand why people are the way that they are. Again, I say all of this with the understanding that I see the flaws. I understand what's wrong with Justin Fields. I also know that that doesn't mean that Justin Fields isn't the guy. Okay, that he is everything that Chicago wants in a quarterback. He's everything that Chicago needs in a quarterback. He already understands the heart of Chicago, and the heart of Chicago wants Justin Fields. That should count for something more than it does in today's world, but I don't know if it will. I'm not really sure. I don't know yet. So I want to see more. I want to see, I want to see Ryan Poles just be like, you know what? I don't care what the media says. I'm doing what's right for the Chicago Bears, and the only thing that's right for the Chicago Bears would be Justin Fields. But at the same time, that's a risk, and that is a huge risk. Now, we don't see the risk because we want to see Justin Fields evolve, and we want to see him. He's like the hometown kid, even though he's not. He's that guy that has the hearts and minds of the Chicago fan base, because we believe that this guy was the one finally to make that happen, and we just didn't see it, right? Now, until Ryan Poles does something, which, by the way, there is a report here that it's going to happen immediately if there were something to happen. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to be looking at a Caleb. Look, we don't know yet. It should be clear. We don't know, but we do know that a lot of the quote unquote smart people who think they know everything are the ones that are telling you, oh, yeah, they're definitely going to move on. They got to move on. Like, I would fire somebody if they didn't take Caleb Williams. Well, that's fucking stupid, right? You fire somebody from a 7-10 record when you expect them to have a 12-5 record. You fire somebody when your team isn't ready to play at the beginning of the season and they lose 4 games, in which 2 at least or 3 were winnable games, maybe 2. Let's call it 2 were winnable games, and you could have again been a team with a winning record. And if you just come through a little bit, then you make the playoffs, right? So I mean, they gave Matt Eberflus another chance. I don't know what that's about. It could be about the defense. I would understand if it's about the defense. As a matter of fact, I do understand why it's Matt Eberflus. You want consistency. But if you're going to use, hey, what we want in order for us to succeed is to have some consistency. Right. I'm just using your words. You know what I mean? But at the end of this, you can get Justin Fields for $6 million this year, which would be cheaper than Caleb Williams for 1 year. But after this year, you got to pay him $25.3 million at a minimum. You have to pay him in order for him to stay here. And then you have to give him 45 million. He's not going to give you the home team discount. This is his chance to change to big time change his life. This is the chance for the big move and the big money deal. So he's not going to turn that down. He may renegotiate a deal later on, but he's not going to turn that deal down. It wouldn't make any sense. And I wouldn't expect anybody to do that. And I would be mad at anybody who would expect me to do it. Like if you're a hometown fan, if you're the hometown team, look, you won't have this conversation if you perform. You know what I mean? We'll be rushing to offload a truck full of dollars for Justin Fields if he performs in that sort of way. However, here's the thing. We got Caleb Williams for 4 years for $9 million a year. So that's $36 million. We would have to pay that much to Justin Fields in the next 2 years, almost. So, that's why I understand why they would want to do this. There's too many variables for me. Like there's things that I want to lean into because again, I'm a Justin Fields fan. So there's things that I want to lean into. One of those things that I want to lean into when I'm doing that is, well, the consistency. Why don't we have consistency? Why are you getting rid of Luke Getsy if Luke Getsy is a great guy for drop back passers? If you're bringing in a drop back passer, I mean, there are pieces that don't match up. So, and then when you take, Tobo Durant says, dude, it's college. And no, look, to be fair here, like when you compare stats, Justin Fields is a superior athlete to Caleb Williams statistically in college. It didn't translate to the NFL as well as we would like. We do know that some of that has to do with coaching and the problems with all of this stuff. And I mean, there's look, you got to do it on the field. That's all. You got to do it on the field. And there's enough tape of Justin Fields making crazy good plays that somebody's going to definitely want him as their starter. But at the end of the day, it just may not be that guy. You know what I mean? It's you know what I mean? Oh, here we go. Stop bumping your gums about stuff already written in stone. It's nothing's written in Jesus fucking Christ. Hey, look, I defended Caleb yesterday and the crybabies didn't show up. I talk about Justin Fields and their bat signal goes off. You know what I mean? Like boom. You know what I mean? So anyway, we don't know what's going to happen yet. We're not sure. We're not sure exactly how this plays out. I would love to see one more run back. And by the way, I don't think Caleb Williams is that guy. Ryan Leaf came out yesterday and warned everybody again. And by the way, this another guy. Like I gave you Merrill Hodge. I gave you Greg Gabriel. I gave you now I'm giving you Ryan Leaf, one of the most massive number 1 flameouts ever. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So Well, you know what? I'm not going to hire that free safety. I'm not going to. I'm not going to get that free safety. That's Ryan Poles. So I'm just going to talk about what has actually happened so far, or what could be happening, and then we'll get to that one in just a little bit. But the latest report creates a sense of urgency to finalize the deal on Justin Fields. So what this really represents is, a couple days ago. Uh, the Bears said this. The Bears said in the combine that they like to get a deal done in place by the time the new league year opens, which is 1 week from today. So the Bears are on the clock. There are people within the organization that would like to see him stay there too, which is one more wrench to throw in there. So even the Bears organization wants to keep Justin Fields. So don't forget that this is not an easy thing if the Bears do in fact move on from Justin Fields. They're not moving on easily, and they're not moving on lightly, and they're looking at every aspect and probably every reason. They want people to convince me to keep Justin Fields. You know what I mean? Like I think that they're feeling some of that right now. There is a segment of Bears fans that will read that last line from Schefter and puff out their chest in saying that Fields is going to remain as the starting quarterback. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Until the Bears can complete a trade of Fields, they have to get the messaging out there that the organization is comfortable with the quarterback remaining with the team. The Bears are losing leverage in a Fields trade with each passing day. The Bears are report from Adam Schefter is this is more likely to be a last-ditch effort from the team to get the best offers for their soon-to-be former quarterback. So again, they don't have any inside sources, but they're looking at the product on the field. There has to be something to that. So hoping to see something different, but until we do, and by the way, a lot of these teams have decided, look, we'll go after Baker Mayfield. We'll go with Kirk Cousins. We'll go with Tyrod Taylor. We'll look for somebody in the draft because this is a deep draft of quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot. There's a lot of complicated stuff going on right now, preventing this from happening. And the Bears and Ryan Poles have not misstepped, but there were no steps to take other than just hold on to Justin Fields. I mean, that's the only step really that they would be able to quote unquote successfully do. But then, of course, that becomes, what do you do in the draft? Now, let's move on, because again, we've got another report linking Saquon Barkley with the Chicago Bears. And we now have two groups of people coming up saying that the Bears are going hard. USA reporter Tyler Dragon said that the franchise tag roundup showed that the Bears, Chargers, Eagles, Raiders, Ravens, and Texans were all rumored to have interest in Saquon Barkley. However, that was not convincing. But then immediately New York Daily News comes out with almost a similar group of people. The Ravens, the Raiders, the Bears, the Patriots, the Texans, and the Eagles are potential suitors who have the resources, need, and interest to possibly sign Barkley. Now, to be clear here, the situation is, it's complicated. The reason is because 657 of those yards that the Bears used for their number one rushing offense last year came from Justin Fields. 600 or so came from Khalil Herbert. Another 300 came from Roshan Johnson. So, and the rest came from Deonta Foreman, by the way, except for some random, wide receiver on some jet goes and stuff like that. So, or jet sweeps, sorry. But they got to replace a lot of yardage. So, I suppose if you want to maintain yourself as the get one of the best rushers, that if you want to be one of the best rushing teams. So, if the Bears are interested in Barkley, there's a chance. Another team is more interested, though, because it is highly likely that the Baltimore Ravens are going to want to pair him with Lamar Jackson. It's very, very likely that the Ravens are going to go hard for Saquon Barkley. So we'll see whether that manifests itself and turns itself into something. But as of right now, a lot of people are starting to say that Saquon Barkley might be basically confirmed at this point. And then the header today, this guy is the key to the Chicago Bears and the 2024 season. Now, look, there are a lot of people who are going to matter for the Chicago Bears. Montez Sweat is going to be the key and the heart of a defense. Jalen Johnson probably going to be the face of that defense. It's going to take those guys. It's going to take Jaquan Brisker. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to have to step up. Cole Kmet is going to have to make some big time plays next year, no matter who it is. We're going to have a little bit better pass protection from Braxton Jones. We're going to have to see Tevin Jenkins continue to pancake people so that Saquon Barkley, if he's the guy, or Khalil Herbert, if he's the guy, make those plays. We're going to have a quality center. Ryan Bates is probably not that guy. He's probably the backup. But we're going to need a big year out of Nate Davis. We're going to need a lot out of Darnell Wright. And we're going to need a lot out of every single position. But the one that makes the biggest difference, the guy that matters the most is DJ Moore. Okay. I think it should be safe to say that DJ Moore, whatever happens with the Chicago Bears next year, is going to be tied more to DJ Moore than it is who the quarterback is, who a new running back is, because DJ Moore is going to be the constant. He'll have 2 years into Matt Eberflus. He'll be, at this point, kind of a veteran to the Bears. And where he goes, we go. Last year, he had 96 receptions, which was his career high. He had 1,364 yards, also his career high. He had 14.2 yards per completion, which was third in his career. He had a long of 58. He had 8 touchdowns. And he had 21 yards rushing on some of the, on 1 or 2 jet sweeps for 5.3. He had 4 jet sweeps, by the way, so an average of 5.3 yards rushing. So, this guy is the man when it comes down to being the best. When it comes down to being the best player out here, then I think it's safe to say that DJ Moore is going to be that guy. So, wherever the Bears go, they're going to be led by DJ Moore. So, in fact, in the original, I want to say this because it's kind of crazy. In the 2018 wide receiver draft, he was ranked number 8. 2018 wide receiver draft class looked like this right here. It was Calvin Ridley, Anthony Miller, DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, Christian Kirk, Cedric Wilson, DJ Chark, James Washington, Michael Gallup, Deshaun Hamilton, Jordan Leslie. And look, he is definitely not the 8th best player in this draft. I mean, this guy has shown himself to at least be in the top 3, right? I mean, we should be able to agree that he was one of those top 3 guys. So a shout out to DJ Moore. He's going to be the linchpin here. So, I don't know who you guys think. Tell me in the comment section, by the way, who do you think the main guy is for the Bears going into this season? Do you think that it's going to be Justin Fields? Do you think it's going to be Caleb Williams? Do you think it's Montez Sweat, Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker? Do you think it's going to be one of the quiet leaders? Do you think Darnell Wright's going to step up big and be a vocal leader in his second season? Do you think Khalil Herbert? I mean, who's the guy? Young Bojack there. Well, we don't have a Bojack right now. So, yeah. Gualberto Garcia says Saquon Barkley is 27 years old, has had several injuries, and is asking a lot of money. Why not draft a running back or get a much younger running back? Listen, you're preaching to the choir in this regard. I don't think that there is an upgrade at running back from Saquon Barkley to Khalil Herbert. I don't think that is an enormous upgrade. I think, let me rephrase it. It is an upgrade, but I don't think it's as significant an upgrade as people want it to be on the free agency market. I think that Khalil Herbert makes all the plays, and I think that Roschon Johnson is a fantastic selection last year, and he's been playing lights out. Roschon Johnson, by the way, had as many receptions as Darnell Mooney for the season. So Roschon Johnson fulfills that Marshall Faulk type player. If he gets more playing time, he's a 1,000-yard guy. You know what I mean? Like, there are very few that we've ever seen. And I'm not saying that Roschon Johnson is that guy, but I'm saying that he showed the potential to be that type of guy in his first season. I mean, again, he had 38 receptions, and then he ran for, I think, 300 yards. Let's go look at the advanced here. Roschon Johnson stats. So Roschon Johnson, like, what a crazy season, right? He had 352 yards on 81 carries. So he averaged 4.3 yards per carry, which is fantastic. If you can average 4 yards in the NFL, you're doing pretty good. You know what I mean? Two touchdowns. He had a long of 29. He had 34 receptions for 209 yards coming out of the backfield. I mean, guys, you get him a little bit more into this offense on the number of snaps, on the amount of plays, then this guy has a lot of potential. Rice Reed says, disagree with you. Saquon is a big upgrade as he is a great receiver and the best blocking running back in the league. Just his blocking would up Fields' completion 2 or 3%. No, it wouldn't. Because as a matter of fact, you can say that, and look, I'm not here to disagree with you on your opinion, but I'm here to tell you that I have enough game tape of Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson blocking. I do have them missing some blocks, by the way. So, you can certainly make that argument. However, when you look at Saquon Barkley, which we can look at his stats too and get kind of an idea of what he looks like. But he averaged 3.9 yards per carry. Is that the same? He had 3 times many carries, but the quality of the yardage were different. And he had 41 receptions. Like, he had, I mean, you're looking at this, right? Roschon didn't lose a fumble, right? We got 2 fumbles. We got 8 career fumbles, or 6 career fumbles out of Saquon Barkley. We've got 1,200 carries, 5,000 yards, constant injuries, or at least reasonably constant injuries. I don't think this is the significant upgrade that people want to say it is. And then that goes with Khalil Herbert, who is, let's go check that out. I mean, you can say that. I mean, and I appreciate it. But Khalil Herbert, with half of the carries, had averaged 4.6 yards per carry, and also still had 20 receptions for 134 yards. So, and that's splitting time with Deonta Foreman. Deonta Foreman was, of course, the main running back for most of the season, despite that he was getting outperformed, in my opinion, to Khalil Herbert. So, and by the way, I like the way Deonta Foreman runs, but it turns out I like the way Khalil Herbert runs a lot more. So what I'm saying is, I don't have the confidence that Saquon Barkley is going to finish the season. I don't have the confidence that he is that tremendous of an upgrade to Khalil Herbert. And look, that is me defending my Chicago Bears, by the way. I just don't think that he's the fantastic, not at $10 million. I don't think that he's the fantastic addition that you think. And that's okay, because we're welcome to disagree, because the man that matters, the only one that really matters, is right here, and that is DJ Moore. So now let's move on to a couple of mock drafts that came up on the radars here. And by the way, I feel like I'm disrespecting Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson when I'm cheering for Saquon Barkley to come here, because I just again, I mean, it just comes back down to loyalty to the teams, and the players that are on the team. So, and I hope that everybody understands that. I'm not, like, he could be the greatest person, or the greatest player of all time, but I'm still going to want my guy from my team. So, anyway, Sports Illustrated just introduced a new a mock draft, and we're going to go through it real quick with number 1, Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams. Then we have Jaden Daniels at number 2, Drake May at number 3. Arizona Cardinals get Marvin Harrison Jr. Minnesota gets J.J. McCarthy at number 5, moving up in the draft. 6, the Giants get Malik Neighbors. Number 7, the Titans get Joe Alt. Number 8, the Atlanta Falcons take Dallas Turner. And at number 9, again, what's old is new again. Chicago Bears take Rome Odunze. So that's an interesting pairing, by the way. If this is the path that we're taking, then it would be cool to do that. By the way, in my draft, I did better. So just so you guys know, I did better in my draft, which I'll show you in just a few minutes. And I also let an NFL, I let the simulator do a draft, which I'm going to show you too. And then we can compare. By the way, I only had 5 picks in my draft, but that was all I needed. I don't think I did a fantastic job, but I think that in the event, I think you guys are going to like it, even if you don't like my selections completely. I think you'll appreciate some of it. New York Jets take Olu Fashanu. Chargers at number 11 get Brock Bowers. Look at the arms on Brock Bowers. Like, look at those arms. Jesus Christ. Quinion Mitchell to the Denver Broncos. Makes no sense. They need a quarterback desperately. Raiders take Johnny Newton. Saints, Talise Fuaga. Jared Verse goes to the Colts. Jackson Powers Johnson probably comes in around number 20. Up, Pittsburgh Steelers take Jackson Powers Johnson at number 20. I think this guy's just Braden Fisk now in the first round, by the way. Braden Fisk is now, as a defensive lineman, coming in at the number 23. That's how big of a move he made in this combine. Here we go all the way down to number 32, the Buccaneers. In the second round, we have no second round picks, by the way. So here we go. The Chicago Bears get this from Atlanta, and this is the trade that sends Justin Fields to Atlanta right here. And we get the number 43 second round pick, and we get Zach Frazier, offensive lineman out of West Virginia. And he is, by the way, a center. So this could be the center of the future. Ryan Bates clearly would be your starter in this context, but we'll see how quickly Zach Frazier gets up to par. And if he is as the second best guy, I mean, that's the second best guy in the draft. So, I would say that there is some certain opportunity there. But then we're going to move down just a little bit more into the draft, into the third round, where we have another pick, and they came up with Marshawn Nealon, edge rusher out of Western Michigan. Don't like that selection, but I don't really have a problem with the selection. You know what I mean? Like it's not exciting me. But I mean, I'll take it. Then moving down here, into the fourth round, we've got Cole Bishop, safety out of Utah. Now, we've picked him a couple times because we get down into this range and we need somebody. Then we've got Justin Aboigbe, defensive lineman from Alabama. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You know what I mean? So we'll see how this all plays out. We're not going to move on to the rest of it, but there we have it. And then we're going to break into another one because we had another Bleacher Nation came up with a 7-round mock draft. And of course, the Chicago Bears trade. I think the Bears will end up trading Justin Fields. So they're going to talk about the trade right here. But number 1 pick, the Chicago Bears are going to take. Wait a minute. Here we go. Bears receive 2024 first round pick. This is what's going on. Giants receive Justin Fields. So round 1, pick 1, Chicago Bears. Like, Jesus Christ, what just happened here? This is wild. Well, you know what? We were going to do a draft. Anyway, so with the first pick, they're going to take Caleb Williams, and then we're going to move down just a little bit, trading down from the 9 pick. By the way, this means there's no receiver, so you're going to have to get it through. Then it goes to Jackson Powers Johnson. Well, we're not going to do that one anymore because this one's just going to ads right now. I'm not sure what this is all about, so we're not going to use that site again. Fuck these guys. But that'll lead us to move on to the one that we did. So I'm going to take you through this because this one was a very, very interesting. This was a very interesting. Now, this is the system did this draft for us, and all we have right here are just it's just picks. It's just we're just letting the machine do its job, right? So with number 1, the first pick, the system chose Caleb Williams. And then at number 9, it chose Roma Dunze. And then, of course, we didn't have any other picks until round 5 in this one. Because like it drafted down. You'll see a lot of picks here for the Chicago Bears, but by automatically doing it, there were no picks in the second round, third round, or fourth round. It came all the way down to the 5th round where we got Malik Washington and then Marshawn Lloyd and Jarvis Brownlee, a cornerback out of Louisville, I might add. And then Tyler Smith, safety out of Georgia. And then with the number 184, we got Thomas Harper, safety out of Notre Dame. And then Mark Perry at the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks. So in trading down a little bit, we were able to pick up 8 total picks. Obviously Mark Perry probably never see the light of day. Thomas Harper, not sure that's the guy that we're looking for, especially when you're looking at him in the 5th round, 6th round. So, we traded way down in this one, and I didn't like it overall. Now, this does mean if you are if you're a fan of me in any way, and you come in here and you listen all the time, you know that I'm a Justin Fields fan. But more than anything, I am a Marvin Harrison Jr. fan, and I don't like the thought or the fact that at any point we having the opportunity to get the one true generational talent in this draft. I don't think that we would serve ourselves very well in not getting that guy. If we miss that guy, we are going to regret that at some point. This guy, his dad played for 15 years. So we're going to regret not getting Marvin Harrison Jr. for 15 years. Are we going to regret Caleb Williams for 15 years if we were to do that? I don't think so. I just don't think so. But you might agree differently. But anyway, because that is the nature of the way this is going, and because we've really kind of analyzed and we've done, and it's easy for me to get Marvin Harrison in every draft. All I really have to do is trade down and give Washington the first pick and get a decent haul of picks and selections. And I change the complexity of my draft every single time by doing it. So now the hard part is to accept that, maybe Caleb Williams is going to be that pick. So I started off again with Caleb Williams being that pick. And this is what happened for my draft. I only have 5 selections. You may not like it, but at number 1, I was able to take Caleb Williams. And then at number 4, what I did was I traded the number 9 up to Arizona for the number 4. And then I gave up the number 75, which was going to be my 6th selection, which had been updated here. And then the first round for next year, which I don't think that I think Chicago is going to be a playoff team. So I don't think that selection is going to be as robust and as good as it could have been. So what I did was I traded up to the 4 at Arizona, and I ended up getting Marvin Harrison Jr. They took Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and then I was able to take Marvin Harrison at the 4 position. So I got my guy, and I got my other guy, if Caleb Williams is in fact supposed to be my guy. But I got the real guy, Marvin Harrison Jr. in this. And then I waited for a few rounds before I got Kalen Bullock. And Caleb Bullock comes in over and over and over again as a 3rd round potential or 4th round potential guy who can start in this league at free safety. So the possibility exists that you bring him in. You're going to have to do some work in free agency to get yourself a safety who's ready to play. Kalen Bullock, I don't think is going to be as ready to play at the start of the season as he will be at the end of the season, but he is there. And then at number 123, I took defensive tackle Mason Smith. Jordan Jefferson was around in the range, but Mason Smith's a better option of the two. And I didn't want to go down at 143 and try for Jordan Jefferson. He could have been gone by that point. So I took Mason Smith at number 123. And then my last selection was number 143, and that was Bo Limmer, which is the 4th best center out of Arkansas. Now, I don't know, by the way, if Bo Limmer is going to be that guy. I don't know that Bo Limmer will ever see the field. He would be a prospect, if anything, in this regard. But what do you guys think? Leave a comment. Let me know. Do you think that that's okay? Did I get do you think that there is an opportunity here to get number 1 and number 4 and pick up Caleb Williams and then turn number 4 into Marvin Harrison Jr.? That really solves my problem. Now, again, my problem, I guess it doesn't solve my problem, but it takes some of the sting out of some of the insanity that I feel over this whole Caleb Williams thing. I fundamentally disagree that Caleb Williams is the guy. I fundamentally disagree that he is the one that's going to lead the Chicago Bears to like the Super Bowl, or whatever it is that we're looking for in this next run. Like I just do not believe that he's that guy. But I don't think he's a bad quarterback. You know what I mean? Like I can't say that I can't stand him or anything like that. Like it's, I don't know the guy in order to not like him. I just feel like Marvin Harrison is the guy, and it would be astronomically dumb for me, astronomically dumb for me to say that not take Marvin Harrison, not find a way to make sure um, uh, that you have Marvin Harrison on your roster. You know what I mean? And that's it's it's crazy. And the Bengals were not horrible, by the way. Rafa 30 saying the Bengals were horrible when they drafted Burrow and then they went to the Super Bowl. That's not entirely true. The Bengals at no point. Well, you know what? I guess they were kind of horrible. But and they didn't go to the Super Bowl. You know what? Let's go look here. Let's go look at the Cincinnati Bengals real quick, and we'll see. We'll see what this looks like. So it came in 2020, and Cincinnati Bengals. You got me generally curious right now about Cincinnati Bengals. So we're gonna take a minute to see what that. All right, so Cincinnati Bengals. Here we go. So Cincinnati Bengals in 2020 were 4-11 after a 2-14 season. So they had already improved and they were already getting better right here. And they ended up going 4-11 with Joe Burrow at quarterback versus Andy Dalton. And they were just coming off of being a 6-10 team. Like I don't know. I mean, 2-14. Look, I would say that was a bad team, but it was also a bad team at 4-11 with Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and T. Higgins before they even got Jamari Chase. I would say that if I'm looking at this, that the difference here is Jamari Chase. Like it would look to me to be that they went from the 29th defense right here under Joe Burrow to Joe Burrow getting the tool that he needed in two elite receivers because he only had one and was 4-11. So I would say that well, he was a top passer, he was a top player. So he had 2,688 yards. I mean, he had a 65% completion ratio, 2,600, 13-5. I mean, okay, he got injured. I mean, we all get injured. I mean, you're playing, you're playing, you're playing in the NFL. Okay, oh fuck my life. All right, so what did he play? One game? These 2,688 yards in one game. Dooby dooby doo. Strangers in the night. Let's see. Career passing. Let's go. See all. He was in 10 games. I mean, he had 10 games, right? So then he got injured, right? So if we're looking at the 2020 season, what did it look like? 2020 season, it looks like um oh, it's not giving me the 2020. Here we go. Bengals 2020 season. There we go. We got all of it right in front of us right now. So let's see. Ding 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 ding. That's 2022, 2021, 2020. Here we go. All right. So final game of the season. And it was right there. All right. So the Bengals won two of their last games. So he basically went 2-10, and his backup quarterback was the one that won some of those last 6 games. God damn, people just don't. Oh man, wild, this wild. All right, so Joe Burrow had 2 wins in his rookie season, and uh, whoever his sub was had 2 wins. So in less games, it wasn't until they got Jamari Chase that they became an elite team because he had 2 significant receivers. I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm saying it again. So anyway, I made sure that in this draft, I got my I got my legit receivers now: DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Caleb Williams. If he's the guy, fine. If he, but I don't. I would like it if Justin Fields were the guy, but I don't care. I'm a Chicago Bears fan, so what matters to me the most is the Bears being successful. So I don't care which one of them it is that throws the ball. I care that we have legitimate sources who can catch the ball and take us to that next level. And I think Lord Crimson said it earlier. Um, um, no, I don't. I like getting emotional. Emotional is fun. So anyway, the whole thing is, I believe that Justin Fields gives us the best opportunity to win. I don't like any draft that includes Caleb Williams, but I did find a way in my draft to come up with Caleb and Marvin Harrison Jr. And dude, I would never. And Marion says, Marlon says, I usually like your drafts, but Caleb got so many red flags. I agree. I agree that the red flags are there. But you know what? Here's the only thing. Only us that are fans of Justin Fields seem to see those red flags and acknowledge those red flags. Everybody else is kind of looking beyond them. Ryan Leaf said that he doesn't think Caleb Williams is going to be successful. Merrill Hodge said he doesn't think that Caleb Williams has the makeup to be successful. Greg Gabriel said that he doesn't think that that Caleb Williams has what it takes to be successful in the NFL. But everybody else seems to disagree. So there's all of these outliers. So, you know what I mean? There's all of these different outliers that, ugh. So anyway, um, and dude, I apologize, but you know what? This is an attention economy. So if I don't go wild sometimes, and if I don't do wild stuff, people don't tune in. I mean, I appreciate the fact that people do tune in, and I'm going to try to give you the best value for your time that I can. So, Ryan Leaf, how did Ryan do in the league? He did exactly what he said Caleb Williams is going to do in the league. So read a book and you'll have it. He did exactly what Caleb Williams did, which was get drafted, or what Caleb Williams will do was get drafted #1 and completely bottom out and flame out rapidly and with very little success. And he says that he sees the same things in Caleb Williams. So he's an expert on it. He is literally an expert on it. So, woo, baby, woo. Damn, I love doing that. Ric Flair in the house. Anyway, guys, that's it for my time. I appreciate. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you taking the time out of your day to come check me out. We'll go over this again tomorrow. We'll get some updates. By the way, look, we got 6 days before free agency starts. 4 days before quote unquote tampering comes into play. So if we're going to get any sort of real Justin Fields is getting traded information, then it should happen pretty soon. So I'm going to be watching for it, and we'll see what happens. I don't, my hope is that the Bears, in my mind, wise up and say, you know what, we're going to run it back with Justin one more time, because that continuity stuff we were talking about, that's actually really important to us. And we're going to take our chances. And if we're wrong, we're all fired anyway, and we'll get a job somewhere else. Because, and here's the thing, they've done enough good stuff here in Chicago. They'll all get jobs. So I don't think they're really worried about it the way, we would be worried about losing our jobs. Ryan Poles going to get a buyout. Maddie Bleeves going to get a buyout. Like, they're not really worried about this. What they're going to do is they're going to try to put the best product on the field in order to win for the fans. And that's all you can ask of them. And if it's not enough, I mean, it's not been enough for a long time in Chicago. It'll just be another in a long line of disappointments. And maybe, just maybe, it'll be in the Super Bowl. Maybe here's the best part. By the way, here's the best part. We'll be in the Super Bowl. We'll be in the Super Bowl, and Justin Fields will fumble. You know what I mean? It'll fumble or something like that, and then everybody who's a Caleb Max would be like, "See, I told you that Caleb Williams was better. He would have won the Super Bowl." And then meanwhile, Caleb Williams would be playing for like New England Patriots, and he'll have like 30 interceptions or 30 fumbles in a season. And people will be like, "Oh, he's going to be awesome." I mean, we do remember how many interceptions that Peyton Manning had in his first season, right? Go look it up. Anyway, you guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.